Down 5.
Up next one. We're gonna gears.
To forge an elite United States Marine, a civilian must conquer a relentless 54-hour crucible and a staggering 10,000 calorie energy deficit. Every limitation is intentionally burned away to construct an unbreakable world-class warrior. How does the human spirit transcend such extreme exhaustion to achieve absolute greatness? Let's step into the tactical furnace and decode the awe-inspiring engineering of Marine Boot Camp. 13 weeks. 3,200 hours of extreme psychological compression, 88 total strangers, and exactly 0 seconds permitted for human weakness. The moment those pneumatic bus doors hiss open at Marine Corps Recruit Depot, Parris Island, civilian life abruptly terminates. It begins with a localized 100 decibel sonic shockwave. This is not a standard administrative intake process. It is a meticulously calculated psychological strike. Recruits hit the asphalt, their boots slamming onto the legendary yellow footprints painted exactly 12 inches apart at a precise 45-degree angle. In less than 180 seconds, everything they once were is systematically dismantled. Hair is sheared off by heavy-duty wall clippers in brutal 45-second intervals. Civilian clothing is confiscated, bagged, and permanently boxed away. Personal identity is completely and definitively erased. This rapid destruction of self relies on a proven operational military doctrine, shock and awe. By overwhelming the civilian brain's sensory processing centers, the United States Marine Corps instantly bypasses natural defensive barriers. The primary weapon in this targeted cognitive psychological assault, the drill instructor. They do not merely yell, they deploy precision acoustic warfare, biomechanically. A drill instructor is heavily engineered to weaponize human sound. Through grueling vocal conditioning at DI school, they master advanced diaphragmatic breathing techniques. They compress vast amounts of oxygen within their lower lungs, forcing it upward to generate localized sonic bursts exceeding 100 decibels. This anatomical precision allows them to shatter a recruit's psychological armor without shredding their own vocal folds over a relentless 90-day training cycle. It is absolute acoustic domination. Every measured syllable functions as a calculated kinetic impact against the human eardrum. How long do you think your fragile mind could last when your personal identity is completely erased in just 3 minutes to fill the void left by their shattered civilian egos? The Corps implants steel discipline through classical Pavlovian conditioning. This methodology manifests in close order drill and the punishing physical reality of incentive training, known simply as IT. When a recruit fails, the 3,000 square foot squad bay immediately transforms into a high-stress laboratory of biomechanical correction. 4-count flutter kicks, rigid push-ups, and relentless mountain climbers are never utilized for mere physical punishment. They are precision tools designed to rewire the central nervous system, forging instant, unquestioning obedience to orders. Then comes the absolute climax of this psychological overhaul phase. The senior drill instructor steps before the 88 trembling recruits for the very first time. The squad bay falls dead silent. When he speaks, it is not a chaotic rant. It is a hyper-focused, flawlessly executed storm of weaponized words. Every calculated pause, every vocal inflection, every sudden escalation in sonic volume is mathematically calibrated to crush the residual civilian ego. He lays down the absolute law of the newly formed platoon. He dictates the exact parameters of their new kinetic existence. In this perfectly engineered monologue, the recruits realize the horrifying, beautiful truth. Their civilian lives no longer belong to them. They belong exclusively to the United States Marine Corps. Greatness is never born from comfort. It is forged exclusively inside the crucible of extreme kinetic pressure. If you are captivated by the brutal art of military strategy and the advanced engineering behind the world's most flawless war machines, hit that subscribe button. That single click is your tactical anchor, ensuring we continue to decode the highest tiers of military secrets together. STEEL discipline has now been permanently grafted into their neural pathways, but mental submission is only the operational baseline. How exactly does the United States Marine Corps weaponize a fragile civilian body, transforming it into an unstoppable survival machine that obliterates all human limits? The systematic reprogramming of the human body begins by directly hacking the brain's primal threat detection center. Welcome to the Confidence Course. Comprising 15 heavily engineered physical obstacles, it is a localized kinetic laboratory explicitly designed to trigger and conquer the human amygdala. The apex of this psychological trauma is the obstacle designated as the slide for life. Recruits are forced to ascend a towering 50-foot vertical wooden structure, suspended precariously over a stagnant 4-foot deep pool of dark water, at precisely 50 feet of elevation. The human visual cortex automatically registers a lethal fall trajectory. The brain's amygdala instantly floods the bloodstream with a massive surge of cortisol and epinephrine, screaming at the muscular system to freeze. Heart rates spike aggressively from a resting 70 beats per minute to a massive 160 beats per minute in mere seconds. Yet, the recruits must silence this biological alarm. They grip the 1.5-inch thick braided descending rope, lock their ankles, and slide downward at a steep 30-degree angle. They are physically overriding millions of years of evolutionary self-preservation hardware in real time. But mastering gravity is only the first variable in the Marine Corps' complex operational equation. Every single United States Marine is, by core doctrine, a highly mobile amphibious assault asset. They must conquer the deep. During combat water survival qualification, recruits face the brutal, unforgiving physics of hydrodynamic resistance. The human body naturally possesses positive buoyancy, but the Marine Corps immediately strips that biological advantage away. Recruits are thrown directly into a 12-foot deep aquatic training environment, wearing standard issue combat utilities and carrying an assault pack loadout weighing a crushing 45 pounds, or exactly 20.4 kilograms. Gravity and rapid water saturation instantly create extreme negative buoyancy. The dense, wet Kevlar and thick nylon drag them downward with terrifying kinetic force. To survive this simulated aquatic disaster, they must execute precisely calibrated techniques. They utilize their issued waterproof gear, trapping air inside their blouses to create improvised flotation bladders. They must tread water for an agonizing duration, fighting extreme lactic acid buildup in their deltoids and quadriceps while their core body temperature rapidly drops by several crucial degrees. Water tests their muscular endurance, but the true crucible of pure, concentrated terror lies locked within a sealed, heavily reinforced concrete structure designated as the CBRN Training Facility. Chemical, biological, radiological, and nuclear defense. Here, the United States Marine Corps introduces them to a synthetic airborne nightmare, 2-chlorobenzalmilonitrile, universally classified by military forces as CS gas. This is not mere smoke. It is a highly volatile, microparticulate riot control agent. When exposed to the ambient atmosphere, CS gas aggressively and instantly binds to the moisture present in the human body's mucous membranes. It triggers a violent, instantaneous biochemical chain reaction. The TRPA1 pain receptors located in the corneas, the respiratory tract, and the epidermis are aggressively hijacked. Recruits experience the acute, agonizing sensation of their soft lung tissue actively combusting. Mucus production surges by over 400%. Oxygen intake plummets drastically as the airway swells, when raw survival instinct violently screams at you to flee from imminent suffocation. What invisible force chains their boots to the deck inside a room rapidly flooding with toxic CS gas? That invisible force is the newly installed software of absolute military discipline. Inside the airtight chamber, toxic white smoke rapidly thickens until visual range drops to absolute zero. Recruits are initially breathing cleanly through their issued M50 Joint Service General Purpose masks, relying entirely on twin M61 particulate filters to strip the lethal chemical agent from the contaminated air. Then, the drill instructor issues the ultimate command, The supreme kinetic test of unquestioning trust. Recruits must reach up, break the airtight silicone seal of their M50 masks, and expose their unprotected respiratory systems to the hostile environment. The climax hits their nervous systems instantly. The localized toxic atmosphere violently invades their vulnerable airways. Cornea blood vessels rapidly dilate, causing temporary blindness. Tracheas forcefully constrict, simulating actual asphyxiation. Panic attempts to seize control of their central nervous systems, yet standing shoulder to shoulder in the suffocating darkness. Nobody breaks ranks. Nobody runs for the steel door. They endure the excruciating burning sensation, shouting the Marine Corps hymn through choked, gasping lungs until the exact moment they are ordered to exit. They have successfully subjugated their own cellular survival instincts. The physical body has successfully breached the absolute limits of human fear. But to actively extinguish enemy life on a kinetic battlefield, what lethal skill sets must now be surgically implanted into their minds? To forge a lethal instrument, the Marine Corps must first teach recruits the complex applied physics of terminal ballistics. Marksmanship is not a natural human instinct. It is a rigid, unforgiving mathematical equation. During Grass Week, recruits are formally introduced to their primary kinetic weapon system, the M4 Service Carbine, firing the standard 5.56 by 45 millimeter NATO cartridge. They are not merely pulling a trigger. They are calculating operational variables. The core of this lethality lies within the rifle combat optic, specifically the 4x32 Trijicon Advanced Combat Optical Gun Sight, or ACOG. The human eye must perfectly align with the ocular lens to achieve proper eye relief, exactly 1.5 inches from the glass optic. A micro deviation of just 1 single millimeter in sight alignment at the shooter's eye exponentially magnifies into a catastrophic miss at a true distance of 500 yards. They must master the violent kinetic recoil of the 5.56 NATO round, which generates approximately 3.7 foot-pounds of rearward kinetic force. By aggressively driving their shoulder pocket into the polymer stock and utilizing the rigid bone support of their skeletal frame rather than soft muscle tissue, they absorb the kinetic shockwave, instantly returning the glowing red tritium chevron reticle precisely back to true center mass. But modern combat is not always a calculated distance sniper engagement. Frequently, it is brutal, hyperkinetic, close quarters physical violence. Enter the Marine Corps Martial Arts Program, universally known as MCMAP. This is not a competitive sporting event. It is a highly engineered combat system specifically designed to permanently terminate immediate threats by ruthlessly utilizing known anatomical vulnerabilities. Recruits learn the lethal physics of mechanical leverage. Rather than foolishly matching raw muscular strength against superior strength, they are strictly trained to exploit the opponent's rapid forward kinetic momentum. A 160-pound recruit can effortlessly generate over 400 pounds of localized rotational torque on an enemy's elbow joint using a flawlessly executed armbar technique, fracturing the radius and ulna bones with terrifying mechanical efficiency. This aggressive physical dominance is further evaluated during the combat fitness test, a punishing physiological sprint directly mimicking chaotic battlefield realities. Recruits must completely execute a timed 300-yard maneuver under fire obstacle course, aggressively drag a 165-pound simulated combat casualty, and vertically press a heavy 30-pound steel ammunition can repeatedly for exactly 2 uninterrupted minutes. Lactic acid aggressively floods their burning deltoids. Their aerobic capacity is forcefully pushed completely beyond the human red line. Amidst a soaring 180 beats per minute heart rate and totally exhausted arms, what is the precise physiological secret to keeping the optical crosshairs perfectly motionless? The absolute answer strictly lies in the respiratory pause. It is the momentary 2-second biological void between exhaling and inhaling where the human organism suddenly becomes completely static. They must master this biological exploit under extreme combat duress. This intense training protocol finally culminates in the ultimate kinetic test of lethal combat marksmanship, Table 2. This is the absolute kinetic climax of their ballistic weapons training. Recruits officially transition from static, calm firing positions to dynamic, high-stress combat engagements. They are fully armored, wearing thick 15-pound Kevlar vests and heavy ballistic combat helmets. The target is no longer a distant black geometric circle. It is a simulated hostile combatant located at a fast-approaching 100-yard operational distance. The drill instructor barks the lethal command. The strict countdown immediately begins. Recruits must immediately execute rapid tactical movements, pivoting seamlessly from a standing combat patrol directly into a stable, kneeling firing stance. They must completely perform lightning-fast tactical speed reloads, forcefully driving a fresh 30-round Stanag magazine upward into the rifle magwell and aggressively slapping the bolt catch mechanism closed in strictly under 3 seconds. Adrenaline aggressively surges through their cardiovascular network. Their respiratory rate is violently chaotic, yet in that exact microsecond right before the internal hammer drops, they forcefully override their biometric systems directly into absolute operational submission. They correctly locate that precise 2-second respiratory pause. They smoothly apply exactly 4.5 pounds of sustained, smooth rearward kinetic pressure directly on the trigger mechanism. The firing pin aggressively strikes the brass primer. The 62-grain copper-jacketed projectile forcefully exits the rifled chrome-lined barrel at a blistering muzzle velocity, rapidly exceeding 300 feet per second. The hostile forward target is instantly neutralized. These lethal tactical skills are now completely solidified. The kinetic combat blade is now unquestionably razor-sharp. But will this carefully engineered biological weapon completely shatter when violently hurled into a true operational hellscape, where they are suddenly and ruthlessly stripped entirely of both essential sleep and basic sustaining sustenance? The ultimate kinetic stress test is universally known as the Crucible. It is a grueling 54-hour continuous operational deployment designed to push the human organism to the absolute brink of total biological failure. The United States Marine Corps intentionally weaponizes physiological exhaustion. Recruits receive exactly 3 meals, ready-to-eat MREs, to sustain themselves for the entire 54-hour event. Each individual MRE contains roughly 1,200 calories, densely packed with processed carbohydrates. That is a maximum theoretical intake of 3,600 calories. However, the relentless physical exertion of simulated combat patrols, heavy ammunition resupply runs, and casualty evacuations burns well over 10,000 calories. The medical reality of this energy deficit is brutal. The body rapidly enters severe hypoglycemia. Crucial muscle glycogen stores are entirely depleted within the first 18 hours. To survive, the liver forcefully metabolizes stored lipids into ketone bodies just to keep the central nervous system firing. They are literally running on biological fumes. As the sun sets, the psychological torture aggressively compounds. Sleep deprivation becomes a potent, localized tactical weapon. During the notorious night infiltration course, recruits navigate through dense mud and tangled razor wire, while live artillery simulators detonate and heavy machine guns fire cyclic blank 7.62 millimeter NATO rounds directly overhead. Scientifically, extreme lack of sleep aggressively degrades the prefrontal cortex, the brain's critical center for logical decision-making and threat assessment. Spatial awareness completely collapses. Auditory and visual hallucinations become incredibly common as the exhausted, starved brain desperately tries to process the chaotic kinetic environment. Dark shadows morph into approaching enemy combatants. Deafening explosions scramble their degraded sensory inputs. Yet, they must keep crawling. They must execute complex fire and maneuver squad tactics while their conscious minds are literally shutting down. Then comes the final, agonizing physiological barrier, the Reaper. It is a punishing 12-mile forced tactical march, culminating in a massive, steep elevation climb. At this precise stage, the human skeletal system is enduring catastrophic mechanical stress. Recruits carry a heavy 45-pound combat loadout, tightly strapped to their backs. Plus, they are grasping their 7.9-pound M4 carbine. The biomechanics are absolutely devastating. With every single step up that unforgiving incline, gravitational force aggressively multiplies the compressive kinetic load directly onto their lumbar vertebrae. The fragile meniscus cartilage inside their knee joints acts as a desperate, failing shock absorber against the massive, repetitive ground impacts. Muscle fibers in the calves and quadriceps are micro-tearing with every agonizing stride. When the physical body is completely drained of all cellular energy and the primitive brain violently screams to collapse, what mysterious internal fuel pushes those trembling legs to take that next agonizing step up the hill? It is no longer physical. It is pure, unbreakable psychological steel. The climax hits as the dense tree line finally breaks. They reach the absolute summit of the Reaper. Instantly, the excruciating physical agony vanishes, magically replaced by a surging wave of pure adrenaline and raw, unfiltered emotion. The drill instructors, the exact same hardened men who ruthlessly destroyed their civilian identities just 13 weeks ago, now walk calmly among the exhausted, sweat-drenched ranks. The terrifying shouting stops. The kinetic chaos finally silences. The drill instructor stops directly in front of the trembling recruit, looks them dead in the eyes, and firmly presses a small, black metal emblem into their blistered, bleeding palm. The eagle, globe, and anchor. The EGA. For the very first time in 91 days, the drill instructor does not refer to them as a recruit. He extends his hand and utters the single most powerful word in their entire new existence: Marine. The transformation is absolute. The civilian ego was shattered, and an apex predator was engineered in its place. If you deeply respect the unrelenting discipline, the cutting-edge combat science, and the sheer willpower required to forge the world's most lethal fighting force, lock in your support by hitting that like and subscribe button. Your engagement is the critical intel we need to keep decoding the ultimate realities of military warfare. The eagle has permanently landed on their chest, and a great warrior is officially born. But look closely at the men who forged them. To create these drill instructors, to build a human capable of engineering other humans with such terrifying precision. How brutal are their 57 days of absolute hell at DI School? That is a classified story we will decode in the next part.